Right, welcome everyone. What I'm going to do is, Steph has asked me to do a bit of a photo before I start doing my talk. It's for marketing purposes. I'm just going to do that first before I get that out of the way. Everyone give it a wave. Hey! There you go, that's in. So we're going to be talking about PPC today, about relaunching your PPC strategy. What I'm going to do first is just tell you a little bit about myself, a little bit about Circus, because that's how all presentations seems to start these days. So a little bit about me. I've been doing PPC for over 15 years now. Been doing it, all I do is live and breathe PPC. The agency I work for, Circus PPC, as you can tell by the name, all we do is live, breathe, eat PPC. So we're a bunch of data geeks, as you can imagine. All we do is PPC, and we're quite big on data in terms of the whole team. Everyone in the team loves data, which is why the talk that happened just before this one, which was all about data, the team really loved it. So going back a little bit into the past of what used to happen when it came to PPC, there was a time going back to the very early days when, in the times of Overture, before Yahoo even existed, where you put in a certain amount of money, you said, this is how much I want to pay per click, and that's basically what used to happen, where if you pay 20p, the person above you pay 21p, the person above them pay 22p, and that's how it used to work. After that, Google started to introduce something called Quality Score. With Quality Score, what happened is, as well as the cost per click, it had another element to it where it looked at the quality of your ads, the quality of your keywords, the quality of the landing page as well. But more recently, what's happened is, as well as what's happened in terms of the world, where we all know what happened in 2020, COVID-19, we don't want to go into that. After that, there's been the economy crash. After that, Google has started to introduce a lot of new changes as well. PMax being the biggest one. I don't know how many people know what Performance Max is. Can I just get a show of hands? Yeah. So with Performance Max, it changed the way PPC worked quite a bit, where a lot of people now seem to think that you just put in something into Google and Performance Max take care of everything. That's not exactly how it works at all. Other things that have changed as well in terms of Google specifically, in the past year and a half, I would say more things have changed on Google than they did in maybe the 10 years before that. So Google have changed the analytics that they were using, where UA changed to GA4. Bing have started to introduce PMax now as well, more recently. Facebook changed the way it was tracking things as well. And in terms of the whole tracking for all of the search engines, that has changed quite a bit as well. So with all of this happening, what do the engines actually tell you? So what would, if you went to Google and said, right, okay, the industry has changed, the world has changed, what can we do in terms of making sure we get the same performance that we used to previously? They're going to tell you to spend more money. That's basically what they're going to tell you. They're going to say, you're spending X amount at the moment, you need to spend X amount times 5 if you want to get the same return that you used to. That's the same for Bing, that's the same for Facebook, that's the same for all of the search engines. The reason why they will tell you this is obvious. Obviously, they make more money the more you spend. That's not true at all, though. It's true to a point where you do need to spend money, but you just need to be more clever in terms of how you spend. So what do we actually need to do? So in terms of your PPC strategy, the first thing you need to do is take a bit of a step back. What a lot of people seem to think still is the way PPC used to work 5 years ago, 10 years ago, even 15 years ago is how it still works now. When we audit accounts, we still see so many people using the same strategies that we used to have in place for clients 5, 10, 15 years ago, which is quite worrying, really, because some of these people are actually working with agencies as well. I think the first question you need to ask yourself after you've stepped back is, are you making money? Is your PPC actually still giving you a return? And is it giving you the return that you actually want as well? Are you losing money? With so many audits that we do, some potential clients don't even know if they're actually making money or losing money. Not until we actually start auditing the account, and then we start to notice that, you know what, do you know that you're actually losing a lot of money on PPC at the moment? And that's when they realize that, you know what, PPC isn't actually working for us. And the reason why it's not working is because they're not looking at the. Once you've done that, you can evaluate where you are. You can have more of an honest feedback to yourself to say, okay, as a business, pretty much like you do with every other channel within your business. So is PPC actually working for us? Yes, long term, it may be. Long term, there's all these ambitions. Long term, we want to achieve everything up to the moon. But right now, is it actually working? Until you've not reviewed that, you can't actually create a strategy. Another thing that we actually notice with a lot of conversations that we have is people don't know if things could actually be better or not. They think the way their PPC is working right now is the norm. They don't know what more there is out there. They don't know if there is anything more that they could actually do. So it's quite important to, when you do take a step back, to ask yourself, could we be actually doing more with PPC? Could PPC achieve a lot more? What are our competitors doing in this space? And what is stopping the growth? With a lot of clients, what we find, or a lot of audits that we do, what we find is the growth is firstly in the mindset. They think that, okay, we can't actually grow this business anymore. But then also, they feel like as if all of our competitors are not doing more than this. So we shouldn't really be able to do more than this. But this is why you need to take a step back and have a look at the data, have a look at the search volumes out there to see, could we be actually doing more than what we are doing? Until you've not done all of this, you can't actually tell if it's a business issue or a PPC issue. Sometimes what we have found with some audits is the fundamental issue isn't with the PPC account. The PPC may look like it's working on the surface, but the actual business has bigger problems where some products they may be losing money on, but no one has actually looked at the data, so they don't know if this is actually. So once you've done all this, what I like to actually share with, because I've only got a 20-minute talk, what I want to share with people is things that can be applied straight away. So there's some rules that I can share with you all today, which can explain to you where you can actually start saving money pretty much from tomorrow as soon as. So one of the biggest issues that we find in pretty much all the audits that we do is there's a little thing in the campaign settings within Google where automatically you're actually targeting all countries. So even though your business might only be targeting UK, and you may set that in the campaign settings, there's a setting that says who do you want to target, and in that you can actually say people who are searching for or interested in UK. A lot of people have that on the wrong setting, which means that they may be getting 80% of their traffic from UK, but 20% is from all these other countries. So that's 20% of your budget that is being wasted. Like I said, this is across pretty much every single audit that we do. So it's quite important for you to look at. Don't forget the basics. A lot of people, especially with PMax coming in, seem to forget about the simple things that we can still do with Google and Bing. Keyword optimization, having a look at search queries to make sure we add all the negative keywords in, adding the actual keywords as well. Although search queries are not as visible as they used to be, you can still see them to a point. You can still add in negative keywords to make sure you're not appearing for terms that you don't want to be appearing for. But again, with a lot of audits that we do, people have stopped doing this thing. Negative keywords. There was one audit that I did recently where the account had no negative keywords added in the past year. And when I asked a question, they said, the reason why we've not added negative keywords is because we thought we could add them anymore, because that's what our agency told us, which is quite worrying, really. Adding new keywords, again, people think that, okay, PMax is taking care of everything now, we don't need to have any manual campaigns, we don't need to. Targeting the correct devices. This is quite a big one because for some businesses, what we find is their business is maybe an app business, for example. They want people to download apps, but they're targeting desktop or they're targeting tablets where the app may not be downloadable. So it's quite important to make sure you want to appear. Scheduling the ads for the correct times. Some businesses that we have, well, one business specifically that we have audited very recently, they had a promotion on that ended 2 days ago, but the ads were still appearing. They had a promotion that they used to run, which was only between certain times of the day, but the ads were actually appearing throughout the whole day. So people used to see ads for a promotion that was not even, they couldn't even. probably one big thing that a lot of agencies will tell you, maybe even some of the agencies here today, don't believe everything Google tell you. Because Google are fundamentally interested in making more money for themselves. Like every business, Google want you to spend more money. If you have a Google account manager, they'll tell you, oh, you need to be spending more money in this area. They'll tell you to apply AR, which is auto-applied recommendations. And with auto-applied recommendations, something that we have found recently is conversions that were being tracked before. Auto-applied recommendations added an extra conversion, which meant that all of a sudden it made it look like as if you were getting double the number of conversions than you actually were on Google, which meant that your budgets all of a sudden start spending a lot more, because with automated bidding, Google thought, okay, they're getting double the number of conversions, let's make it spend double the amount of money. So it's quite a big one where people, you all do want to review that. As soon as you go back, make sure Google hasn't applied an extra conversion. Let the data lead you. It sounds quite obvious, but a lot of people do not let the data lead the way. Again, sorry, I keep mentioning audits I've done. Well, one audit that we did recently, we found out that they were not looking at any data at all because the agency was not sharing any data with them. There was no weekly reports in place. There was no monthly reports in place. Data is what will lead you to success with your PPC. Having a look at the data, optimizing the data, making sure you're targeting the right people based on the data. This is what will help fundamentally help you. More importantly, what data are you looking at right now though? Again, with some accounts we have found that the data they're looking at, one account specifically that we audited fairly recently, I found that their conversion tracking wasn't actually reporting conversions, it was actually reporting on every person that visited a certain page on the website. So they thought they were getting thousands of conversions, when in reality they were getting thousands of visitors to the conversion page before any orders actually went through. So it's very important for you to look at that and make sure your ads is actually tracking the right conversion point before. Is your targeting correct? I mentioned this briefly earlier, but something that we have found with accounts, not every account needs to target every age group, not every account needs to target every gender, every location, and timing as well. It's quite important that we make sure we target the right people to make sure we don't waste money on areas where you don't want to. There was one business that we looked at recently who were only targeting clients in London, but one of their campaigns was actually targeting the whole of UK. 80% of their budget was being wasted within that campaign, which is, considering how much they were spending, over 50k in that account. Is your PPC working in isolation? So something I like to talk to all of our clients about is to make sure your marketing strategy as a whole is working together, and you're not saying, oh, this is what PPC is doing, but what about everything else? I think it's important that there's someone in-house for clients who are looking at the overall strategy and managing that, especially if you're working with multiple agencies. As a PPC specialist agency, all of our clients are working with multiple agencies because we don't manage anything else. So with them, I like to have quarterly catch-ups with all the agencies in there, where the clients can say, okay, this is our goal for the next quarter, this is our goal for the year, and make sure all the agencies are aligned in terms of what they're actually trying to achieve. Sometimes if PPC are going off in that direction, SEO is going off in that direction, email marketing in that direction, your marketing message will be different in all of them firstly, and also your return will be tracked very differently by all of the agencies, and you'll be... Are you testing? That's the first question, and then how are you tracking the tests? A lot of people do set up tests with their PPC accounts, and then 3 months, 6 months later, someone will ask the question, how is that test doing that we set up a long time ago? And no one will know because no one is tracking that test. So it's quite important that you actually are testing new things, and especially with what you can do with Google, where you can actually test 50% of your traffic going one way, 50% a different way. It's important that you're actually tracking how this is actually performing as well. And not just lead. What I'm also going to do is go through some common agency mistakes. So a lot of the mistakes I've shared so far, they're shared across the board. These are some mistakes that just not understanding the goal of PPC. Unfortunately, this is quite a common one where the client has given a brief maybe 2 or 3 years ago, and the agency are going off and they're doing their thing. They may even be working they might be getting some kind of success to a point, but they don't actually know what the goal of the company is. Some clients may want to get a return, but also at the same time, they want to spend a portion of their budget on growing their brand. Some clients want to purely focus on just growing their brand because that's what their goal is for this quarter. They need to make sure they grow their brand, and then next quarter they want to start pushing. Some clients want to purely focus on ROI. It's very important from an agency side that we understand what your goal is. And for that, we need to make sure we have regular meetings with you guys. We need to make sure we have quarterly catch-ups where we all take a step back as a whole and say, okay, this is how PPC is working. However, what is your goal as a client over the next quarter? What is your goal over the next year? What is it that you want to achieve? Your goals may change year on year, quarter on quarter. And if they have changed and you've not had the chance to tell us, because everyone is busy in their day-to-day job, people may not have had a chance to inform the agency to say, our goal has changed on this side. Can we spend more budget on this? Sometimes the guilt purely lies on the agency side, where the client has told the agency the goal. They've shared all the details. They've even shared a full document in terms of this is our goal for the next 3 months, 6 months, a year, 5 years, but they haven't made a plan to execute that. It's okay looking at the next month, it's okay looking at the next year, but sometimes you need to have a plan in place to look at, right, okay, this is what, as a business, you want to achieve over the next 5 years. How can we make a plan with PPC? What kind of budget is it that you actually need over the next year, over the next 5 years to get you there? Because then obviously there's a lot of internal conversations clients need to have. There's a lot of external conversations you may need to have with board of directors, with investors. So they need to have these before. One size fits all approach. Unfortunately, this is again something that quite a few agencies are guilty of, where they have a recipe that works or has worked in the past, and they feel like, right, okay, this has worked in the past, let's apply this across every single client. Or this is a recipe that Google have given us, we're going to apply this on every single client. Every client, every business is unique. What works for one company doesn't work for a different one. A white paper that I am writing at the moment, where again it's a working title called Don't Listen to Your Mate Dave, because every business is going to be different. And what we're looking at is we're comparing similar businesses who are all getting a very different performance, and the times when they're actually getting conversions is different for all of them. The ads that are working for all the different businesses is different for all of them. So it's going to be very interesting, but I think we're a few weeks away from that being complete yet. But it's quite important that you do make sure that if you are working with an agency, the approach that they are taking for you is unique to your approach. Not understanding what the client really wants or why they want it. So a client may approach an agency to say, we want to get more sales on X, Y, and Z product. We don't really care about all these products from A to X, where we just want to get more sales on all these products. But the reason why they might be saying that is because they haven't seen the data for all the sales that they're getting in all these products. As an agency, it's our job to inform you in terms of what is going on, in terms of the data especially. It's our job to educate you on in terms of the PPC side of things. And also, you don't know what you don't know as a business. We're always going to be the experts on PPC. The client is always going to be the expert on their business. We don't know, we wouldn't know how to run their business. They wouldn't know how to run the PPC, which is obviously why they work with us. So it's important that we, as an agency, share that with you guys to say, right, okay, you want to do this. However, the data is saying that this is what we should do. And after that conversation, you might say, no, don't care about the data. We still want to do this, which does happen sometimes. So we can have that conversation at that point. But until you've not been told what the data is, tell where to go with that. Which leads me nicely onto the next point, not following the data. Again, a lot of agencies will just follow whatever the client says or whatever someone senior in the business will tell them to do. Had this in a past role in the past where a director in the company was saying, you know what, that landing page isn't going to work, change it to this landing page. Without doing any split testing, that the person managing that account decided to change the landing page. When we actually stepped back and analysed the data, we found that the previous landing page was actually working better. But just because the director thought that this other landing page is going to work better, it was changed. And their conversion rate was actually half of what it was previously. So again, it's important to follow the data. So I think, especially with the applause, that kind of gives me a sign that I need to kind of stop here. But there's obviously a lot more things where we, in terms of our audit, it's like 50 pages long, where we look at all the different little bits within an account that can be improved, that you may want to look at. Obviously, I can't go through all of that over here. But we are just over there, and I am still here after this talk as well. So come see me. We can talk about your individuals. We can talk about what more we could actually do for you guys. And I get a show of hands of any retail businesses. Yeah. So we've actually got some Black Friday cheat sheets as well, which has a bit of a checklist for Black Friday. So you can scan the QR code and get that email to yourself. I think we can do that, can't we? Email, yep. Yeah, you can get that email to yourself there as well. So feel free to come and take that. And that's pretty much it. Photo's quite old. Our team has grown a bit since then. But that's pretty much it from me.